Good Tuesday evening, June 18th, and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Here are a few of the stories we have coming up for you tonight. A group of rural homeowners are suing Chelan County over what they say are unfair property tax assessments. The Moses Lake School District has hired a new executive director of finance to try and fix the district's $20 million budget shortfall. Our temperatures are warming up just in time for the start of summer. Your local weather forecast is straight ahead. Authorities made an arrest this morning in the alleged murder last week of Synthia Ring, a 28-year-old East Wenatchee woman found dead in her Eastmont Avenue apartment. East Wenatchee Police Chief Rick Johnson says an Ohio State Patrol officer this morning pulled over and arrested 22-year-old Ashton Bunting Jr., wanted on an extradition warrant alleging second-degree murder as he was traveling near Toledo. Bunting had been sought as a person of interest ever since Ring was found dead by apparently violence the night of June 11th in the same apartment where family members found her 4-year-old child alone and crying. Police say Bunting had already left the state by the time Ring's body was found. He was reportedly involved in a South Dakota car accident that afternoon and later traveled on to Minnesota. He's expected to be extradited to Douglas County to face charges. A group of rural homeowners are suing Chelan County over what they say are unfair property tax assessments. 21 property holders in the Ponderosa community outside of Plain filed individual lawsuits last week in Superior Court, each one alleging that Chelan County's assessor willfully excluded key data when setting the assessment rates for their land and structures, resulting in higher than expected tax bills. Many of the homeowners have successfully appealed their assessments multiple years in a row, but they say the county has used questionable methods for appraising property and refuses to change them. The plaintiff's attorney, Brian Maroney, says they've already paid their taxes in full and are only suing for a refund of what they say are excessive tax bills. The county has yet to file a response to those lawsuits. Okanogan County's largest power supplier failed to keep up with current clean energy laws when offering energy assistance programs for its low-income ratepayers. That's the finding from the Washington State Auditor's Office, which says the Okanogan County PUD did not make energy assistance programs available to low-income households as required after 2019 and did not correctly report the need for energy assistance across its service area. The PUD reported about $350,000 worth of need across 386 households based on residential electric bills. The auditor says the real need is closer to $5 million for 5,400 households that would qualify as low income. The PUD has disputed those findings. The state says it will continue to review the agency's compliance. Chelan and Douglas counties will receive several million dollars as part of a nearly $150 million settlement against opioid manufacturer Johnson & Johnson. In 2020, Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson filed a lawsuit against Johnson & Johnson, asserting the company, quote, marketed the long-term use of opioids at high doses without documented evidence of their effectiveness, ignoring the well-documented risks of its drugs. Ferguson announced the settlement in January, which requires a $123 million to be used for combating the opioid crisis. The $123 million lump sum is evenly split between the state legislature and local governments, with Chelan County receiving $5.3 million and Douglas County receiving $2.4 million. The Attorney General's office says the local governments will determine how to spend those funds. When we come back, a chip seal project on Highway 28 forced some traffic delays this morning in the area of Baker Flats. And the Indigenous Roots and Reparation Foundation is hosting a screening of a film by Wenatchee-based production company North 40. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Caught in a conflict? Family? Workplace? Neighbor? Business? Housing disputes? Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center provides mediation services, a cost-effective and efficient way to provide a written resolution to disputes and issues. Plus, we offer mediation training and community education on conflict resolution and communication skills. Contact us to learn more.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
Now there are even more reasons to meet at the Pybus Market. Outdoor dining and tastings, the fabulous Farmers Market, Saturday artisans on the concourse, and your favorites all week long. No matter the reason, it's always time to meet at the Pybus Market. Pybus Market, where community meets.
Let your voice be heard. I'm former Chelan County Sheriff Brian Burnett, and I'd like to be your District 12 State Representative in Olympia. With my extensive experience in law enforcement, I'm eager to serve you to ensure your community and neighborhood public safety. I intend to safeguard and improve your quality of life. I support your private property rights, lowering your tax burden, helping small business to thrive, fiscal responsibility, and your public safety.
Paid for by the committee to elect Brian Burnett for State Representative.
The Moses Lake School District has hired a new executive director of finance. The district announced yesterday that Mitchell Thompson, who was most recently responsible for business manager services at 3 Washington school districts, will take on the job. Thompson's previous roles include Executive Director of Fiscal Services at Centralia School District and Supervisor of Enrollment and Institution Funding at the Washington Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction. Thompson comes in after the district announced a $20 million budget crisis last month that led to the layoffs of more than 100 teachers and reductions of 85 more classified staff members. Moses Lake School District Communications Director Claren McLaughlin told NCWLIFE News the Executive Director of Finance role combines 2 vacated director positions. The unemployment rate in the Wenatchee Metro Statistical Area in April was up compared to 2023. That's the 4th straight month this year our area has seen a slight rise. The State Employment Security Department reports the Wenatchee area unemployment in April was 4.5%, up 0.6% compared to April of 2023 when the rate was 3.9%. Meanwhile, non-farm employment in the Wenatchee area in April provided 48,500 jobs. That's up 200 jobs compared to April of 2023, a modest 0.4% increase. A chip seal project on Highway 28 forced some traffic delays this morning in the area of Baker Flats. Motorists heading toward East Wenatchee from Orondo and Waterville encountered a backup while workers put down new road material and flaggers controlled the lanes of travel. The chip seal is used to fill in the wheel paths dug in the asphalt over time by thousands of vehicles traveling the state highway. The Washington Department of Transportation says the work is scheduled to wrap up this week. The Indigenous Roots and Reparation Foundation is hosting a screening of a film by Wenatchee-based production company North 40. Fish War is a documentary that explores a civil rights area battle between indigenous communities, the state of Washington, and non-indigenous fishermen for fishing rights. The film, which was also produced by Northwest Treaty Tribes Media, features rare archival footage and interviews with the activists and asks what fishing rights truly mean in face of climate crisis and human intervention. Fish War premiered at the Seattle International Film Festival with 2 sold-out screenings in May. The showing will be held next Thursday, June 27th at 7 p.m. in the Numerica Performing Arts Center. Coming up next, the former Wenatchee World office complex is under new ownership with significant renovations underway. We'll give you a tour of work being done in tonight's feature story. Sunny skies, light wind, and warmer temperatures in your local weather forecast right into this weekend. I'll have all the details coming up in your full local weather forecast. That and much more still to come tonight. Please stay with us.
Let Mary Maid's custom cleaning experts help you clean up your to-do list. Between work, kids, and pets, it's hard to find time to keep up. Let Mary Maids of Wenatchee help. Mary Maid's cleaning experts can help keep your home or business fresh, neat, and exactly how you'd clean it, if only you had the time. Call now for a free estimate, 509-663-1710. Serving Chelan and Douglas counties, Mary Maids, let us help.
Check out clubprocashmere.com for upcoming events and tickets.
Bienvenido al Centro de Resolución de Conflictos. Brindamos servicios a los condados de Grant y Adams, ayudando a empresas y personas a resolver problemas difíciles. Ofrecemos ayuda con conflictos de trabajo, problemas residenciales y asuntos familiares. Podemos capacitar a su personal en habilidades de prevención y resolución de conflictos. Llámenos al 509-237-3705 para obtener más información.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
The former Wenatchee World office complex is under new ownership with significant renovations underway. Though the newspaper's main office is set to stay, the rest of the building will become a number of open office spaces on the top floor with 3 retail units on the lower level facing Mission Street. In tonight's feature story, NCWLIFE's Casey Safford caught up with the property developers to get an inside tour and hear more about their plans for that building.
It's amazing how many spaces for like individual organizations you guys have created out of just one.
Yeah, and the Wenatchee World operations were kind of spread out all over everywhere, right? Press hall, like all over the building. So we were like the whole first year was just working with them on like figuring out ways to consolidate them, to like get them out of this random, room down the hall and over there, because that's just where they had always been.
I'm sure it's easier to get together anyway.
Yeah, because you had a company that owned the business and the building, so it's kind of like they just did whatever. So, but we really kind of everything for the world is, well, they take that whole building, which is actually a separate building, both floors of that, and then everything on the lower level. So, and we've scrunched them into that amount of space.
Well, every room goes back farther than I expect it to.
Yeah, so we've kind of put just doors in where we think maybe future, small tenant might need a division, because it's really small office leasing is kind of what we're shooting for.
And then we took again and used most of the, the art and what the press had done before and tried to line the walls.
Yeah, this is all very press-centered.
Yeah, we wanted to continue we're calling this the World Office Suites, right? So we're trying to have that theme of, the Wenatchee Daily World newspaper being, the main tenant in the building still, but also the historical owner.
What we've done is this is going to get walled off, and then the World will have their complete own suite.
Okay.
And then what we did is we stitched, weld stitched all this structural steel.
I was going to ask what that was.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
This is called a weld stitch, and we stitched everything together to keep that impressive look of the industrial.
Yeah.
And then And then we put a brand new opening into this suite up here, so that, you know, tenants who are up here have their own storefront door.
There's
So,
just like more privacy.
yes,
Yeah.
yep.
Both Berks and Hamilton have kept customer accessibility and safety at the forefront of their design and construction plans. 3 parking lots surrounding the building will be available for customers, and those who choose to park in the back parking lot will find it well lit, offering a private stairwell that leads to an interior hallway. The hallway takes customers past the restrooms and directly to the tenants so that no one has to walk around the exterior of the building. Both Berks and Hamilton are doing all they can to keep the overall style of the building in tune with its printing press history, including lining the hallway to the tenant business spaces with Prohibition newspaper headlines, keeping the original rail tracks used to transport heavy printing paper throughout the building, and one last special thing.
See these like foundational pours here? At one point when they were doing one of those 30, 40 plus years ago, the Wenatchee World guys put a time capsule in here. Yeah, and we know some of them personally. They're our neighbors, just where I live, but we've known them for a long time. But they also still work for the World. And he was up here, and we were asking him a question about the building. We needed to know something, and he marked out on the floor. He said, "There's a time capsule right here." When he was a kid and his dad was working here, is when they did the time capsule.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's like under the floor somewhere. Like, I don't know when you're gonna dig that out.
I don't know now with all the concrete on top of it.
Yeah.
But that's, yeah, just another cool element where it's like, you know.
We might dig up the capsule when that tenant goes in.
Time now for a check of your north central Washington weather forecast. Hope you had a great Tuesday. Temperatures warmer out there, but the good news after all of the wind that we have had this spring, not too much of it to speak of today, although we did see some clouds out there and some isolated showers. Those isolated showers will probably continue into our early evening hours as well, but what a beautiful shot looking down at parts of the Wenatchee Valley from our Cougar Ridge Sky-Fi Tower camera. You can see the Otobashan Bridge crossing the Columbia, and yeah, it was a nice one out there today. Temperatures getting a little closer to normal. 75 out there today. 75 is where or 79 rather, is where we should be for an afternoon high temperature. 50 this morning. 55 is our normal low temperature. And boy, for the second day in a row, it was a hot one in 1961. 105 yesterday, 101 today, our record. Our record cool temperature is 42 degrees, set in 1996. Sunrise this morning, 5:04, and the sun sets tonight at 9:01. All right, getting into those Wednesday temperatures. We're on our way up. We talked about a warming trend beginning on Wednesday, and it will. 83 for Moses Lake, Ephrata, and Quincy. Just slightly cooler back to the west. 82 in Wenatchee, 81 for Eniat and Chelan. 80 degrees tomorrow in Omak, and also 80 degrees tomorrow if you're heading up to the Leavenworth area. What a beautiful day with not much wind in the forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy skies to mostly clear. Still some isolated showers early evening, but by late in the evening, mainly just clear skies tonight with low temperatures in those lower 50s. For your Wednesday, sunshine. Here's that ridge of high pressure beginning to build, bringing all of that desert southwest warmth our way. We'll see high temperatures tomorrow into the lower 80s generally throughout our viewing area. And then our first day of summer on Thursday, and it'll feel just like it. Sunny skies and warmer. High temperatures in the mid to upper 80s as we get into Thursday afternoon. Talking some 90s down in the Tri-Cities, also probably Yakima area. For Friday, sunny and just downright hot for this time of year. We're talking temperatures to end our work week in the lower 90s. Keep in mind, our normal high is about 78 to 79 right now. And then to kick off our weekend on Saturday, there is an area of low pressure that will be pushing into British Columbia. That could bring us some high clouds on Saturday, but it's not going to keep our temperature down much. We'll still see highs in the low and maybe even mid 90s for much of, you see it right here, eastern Washington. And then on Sunday, unfortunately, back to that wind. Low pressure will move across Canada, high pressure off our coast. That's going to kick up those winds. Mostly sunny for Sunday. High temperature temperatures cooling back almost 14 to 15 degrees to 80 degrees on Sunday. And then by Monday, kicking off our next work week, still just a little bit breezy here in north central Washington. Going to see a lot of sunshine on Monday, though. It will continue a cool down with highs on Monday only in the mid 70s. All right, taking a look at your 7-day forecast. 52 overnight tonight and a beautiful stretch of days coming our way. Sunshine Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, about 5 degrees warmer each day as well. Looks like we'll top off on Saturday at around 93 degrees, and then some wind and a big cool down as we get into Sunday and Monday. 80 degrees your high Sunday and only 76 with sunshine on Monday. And that's a look at your north central Washington weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
A .338 hitter in the
Wenatchee Apple Sox baseball is back on the NCWLIFE channel. Tune in Monday, June 24th when the Apple Sox take on the Kelowna Falcons. Coverage of Apple Sox baseball is brought to you by Harvest Valley Pest Control. Prestige Senior Living at Colonial Vista in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee. Together for Youth. The Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center and the Wenatchee Valley Technical Skills Center. Your television home for Wenatchee Apple Sox baseball. The NCWLIFE channel.
I have no idea what I'm doing. That's why we need you. We need people to run cameras so I can get back down on the broadcast and talk about what's going on. We pay $75 per event. If it's sports, if it's a parade, if it's Apple Blossom, if it's a Super Oval, $75. If that sounds like some extra good money for you, we'd love you to be part of our team. All you have to do is email me, sports@ncwlife.com. sports@ncwlife.com. In the meantime, I gotta go figure out this camera.
And a good Tuesday to you. The Mariners are in Cleveland to begin a 9-game road trip after sweeping Texas. Seattle has a 43-31 record. Cleveland leads the American League Central with a 44-25 mark. Now, Bryce Miller will get the start for Seattle. In fact, that game's already underway on Root Sports Northwest. Speaking of Root Sports, Jen Mueller hosts a cooking show called I'll Cook, You Measure, which can be seen on Root Sports and here on the NCWLIFE channel. Miller was a guest with Jen and said when he was in high school, he used to hold many jobs with a river tubing company.
Fun fact, I worked at a couple restaurants back in the day.
You did?
If you consider a place on the river.
Yes.
Like on the Comal River, it's not really a restaurant, it's river food, right? So you cook
hot dogs?
Hot dogs, yeah, and hamburgers, that kind of stuff.
So you were the grill guy for hot dogs?
Yeah, it depended on what my job was that day, but sometimes I drove the bus, sometimes I cooked.
So for people who don't know, the reason you would drive a bus is you grew up in New Braunfels. The river is right there. One of the things that you do is go tubing down the river. And you have to get a bus to get you from one spot to the other because you don't end up in the same spot. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd be like 16, 17. It'd be like, somehow I ended up driving a bus. It's like a full bus with a trailer. Probably, I don't know, somehow I ended up doing that sometimes. But usually I was in the kitchen, kind of.
I'm gonna guess they didn't have you do a lot of cutting in the kitchen. That was quite possibly the most haphazard way I have ever seen.
Watch for I Cook, You Measure on YouTube, as well as the NCWLIFE channel. Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sunday nights at 10:30. Well, the Seahawks wrapped up mandatory minicamp a day early last week. Coach Mike McDonald was impressed with how hard the team worked during the week-long camp and rewarded them with an early exit.
Really just couldn't be happier with the effort. That's what I was just telling him, just the effort, the intent, the energy, the attitude, all the things we're asking them to do, they responded every day, and just really excited about where we're at. And we've been going at it here. We had the extra week being the new staff and everything, so felt like it was an opportunity to get out of here healthy and have a great off season. Well, I hope we're building what we're trying to build. I think we're on our way. But shout out to our coaches too. We just try to take advantage of every meeting and just stack all those meetings over and over and over again, stack every opportunity we've had on the field, and just felt like it was time to say, okay, I think we've gotten great work in. and let's get the heck out of here.
I think it benefits us in creating matchups where like you're putting the defensive player in the best position, and then you're also confusing the offense. So it makes it harder for the offense to study us, knowing that, they may see Draymond at a 5 technique on film, and then when we line up and play against him, he's probably going to be playing 0 or 3 technique. So it's harder for our offense to scheme against like one specific player because we move around so much. And then it's also giving us freedom as players to use our best skill sets in the best situations. And the coaches are doing a good job of like knowing that we're all different. So he's, even though he might say get from point A to point B, he's going to tell me to get there differently, or he'll allow me to get there differently than the way Jay Reed will get there. And I think to me that takes a great coach to understand that we're different players, and even though we can do the same job, we may do it differently.
Meanwhile, the offense has been getting used to the new scheme being installed by offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. Wide receiver DK Metcalf likes what he sees so far.
Like you said, man, it's pretty early. I've only been here a couple of days throughout the offseason, but from the days I've been here, I like Coach Grubb, his motivation, how every day he's strictly the same person. He's always motivating us to be our best selves. So that's one thing I like about him. And this offense, I think, it has a lot of potential to be great, especially with the weapons that we have in our receiver room, tight end room, running back room, and even the O-line, the veteran leadership that we brought in this offseason. I think it has potential to be special.
Players are off until August when they'll reassemble for training camp. The Seahawks' first preseason game, August 10th at the Chargers in L.A. Congratulations to Wenatchee's Evan Canfield, who was named the Moss Adams West Coast League Pitcher of the Week for last week. Canfield pitched 8 shutout innings against the Kamloops Northpaws last week at a 2-1 victory. The right-hander from Edmond, CC, lowered his ERA to .60 while striking out 8 in the game. He's 1-0 on the season, and in 3 appearances has allowed just 1 earned run. How about that? Meanwhile, the Apple Sox fell to the Dub C Fish Sticks at home last night in a non-league game 5-4. The voice of the Apple Sox, Joel Norman, says 4 errors proved to be costly last night.
Wenatchee came back from a 3-0 deficit, but could not come back from falling behind a second time, as their 4 errors really hurt them in Monday night's contest. Jaden Holloway went 2 for 4 at the plate, including a RBI single hit in the 4th inning. Jonathan Fitz also tied the game with an RBI single in the 5th. But again, the Apple Sox could not pick up the victory against the Fish Sticks. Wenatchee returns to league action on Tuesday night, and they look to build off of their 12-3 start to the season. They are 2 games ahead of Edmonton for first place in the North Division standings in the first half, with 12 games remaining in it, and are off to their best start to the season in league action since 2012. First pitch at County Stadium is at 6:35 p.m. With your Apple Sox update, I'm Joel Norman.
Yakima Valley is coming into tonight's game off a series win over Walla Walla. The Pippins beat the Sweets last night 9-2. Yakima Valley is 9-6 on the season, good enough for 3rd in the WCL's South Division. Now Corvallis is running away with the South, off to a 13-1 record. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Have a happy Tuesday.
What are you doing on Saturday? I'll tell you what you're doing on Saturday. You're coming down here to Memorial Park for the big annual party. Wenatchee Pride Fest is back. Kelsey Riggs is the president of the local organization. He and his fine group of people are putting together one big wing-ding. Food, beer, entertainment, vendors. It's all going to be here on a beautiful Saturday. Come down and check out the Wenatchee Pride Fest 2024. On the next edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, Kelsey Riggs will tell you all about it.
And that will do it for our newscast tonight. For more news from around North Central Washington, you can find us at NCWLIFE.com, on our social media channels, or on our mobile app for iPhone and Android. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. Email us at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks so much for being with us, and have a great night.